And Joel Rubin is back. He's the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State during the Obama administration. So it may be weird that I'm talking about this with a group of men, but there are actually a lot of men behind this movement, which is known as pronatalism. Elon Musk is one of them, who says there's a population crisis around the world. People need to do more to have children, and they want this to be reflected in policy in the U.S. About 70% of the states President Trump won actually had above the national birth rate. That was back in 2023, compared to just 15% of states that Kamala Harris won. Okay, Mike Warren, have you heard about this movement, and what do you think about seeing it actually play out in policy?
Oh, absolutely. And look, this is not new in the sense that there have been efforts, particularly in tax policy, to try to encourage people to have child care tax credit, or really any tax credit. I just finished filing my taxes yesterday. I get a tax credit for the number of kids that I have. So that's not new. What I find kind of odd about this is going through sort of the depths of transportation policy in order to sort of privilege this sort of thing.
Yeah, to be fair, Sean Duffy has 9 kids. He's long talked about birth rates. Here's how he describes the issue.
I think it is a crisis. And again, if you look at what's good for countries, societies, is to reproduce, to have kids. That shows that you're healthy, you're strong, and you're patriotic.
What do you make of seeing this play out in policy?
Well, if you get on a plane and you fly somewhere, planes just don't go to places where there are high birth rates, right? So as a way of making transportation policy, this doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Now, you could argue, okay, a town, say in Texas, has got a higher birth rate, so we should plan ahead and think about the transport needs for that town. That seems great, but this seems to be about ideology. Now, one answer to the question of there aren't enough people is to encourage more immigration. So it seems like 2 of the administration's priorities are actually working against each other here.
It's interesting that you went in that direction. Joel, how are you hearing all of this? Because we've always done it with kids. Mm-hmm. It's a thing, and this looks suspiciously partisan.
It looks highly partisan. First of all, how would you implement it? When's the timeline for it? When do they start the clock? Is it the day Donald Trump was inaugurated? Is it 9 months after that? And I think that what we're looking at here is an attempt to shift the entire population of the United States, to try to bias and push towards red states, quite frankly, whiter states, and to try to move in that direction to depopulate from immigration. Immigration is the lifeblood of this country.
Yeah, but to challenge that, so many Democrats, especially in progressive circles, have talked about what does it mean to have a family. Yeah. There's a lot of conversation about being childless by choice. Yeah. There is a perception that maybe culturally Democrats aren't exactly selling the idea of family.
Yeah, you know, but that's everyone's choice. And that's the right, as an American, to choose what kind of family and how large a family you want. And I personally, we have 3 kids, 3 daughters. I love having 3. It's wonderful. But I don't think that the way I choose to live needs to be forced on other people, and certainly not by the government telling people how many babies to have.
Last word to the other person with 3 kids on the panel, unless you have 3 kids. Oh, okay. No, we're in the 2 club. All right.
Exactly. Well, look, it just seems odd. If we're talking about implementing policy, transportation policy, because of population growth expectations, that seems fine. I do agree. This seems ideological, and it seems like often the Trump administration is trying to implement social change through government. That's certainly that's kind of new for Republicans.
Right, and also what they accuse past Democrats of doing. I don't want the group chat to go anywhere. We have more to discuss.